Hey guys, so I'm gonna try to do this really quick, because I have to go to class in like 10 minutes. Um, okay, so this week's topic is self-discovery, and I have a really weird history of self-discovery, which is why it might be kind of hard for me to do this. Sorry, voice is adjusting. Okay, so I'll start with when I was first born. So I was adopted when I was 2.5, and I have two parents that are lesbians, and they've been together for 35 years. So they adopted me together with a joint partnership, but on the document on my birth certificate it says that my mother is a single mother. Um, so it doesn't say that I have two moms on my birth certificate, which would be awesome, but it just doesn't work that way, especially in 1993. That was, completely crazy. So, yeah. So at a really early age, I identified more on the female spectrum because my whole upbringing was female oriented and based. I had two moms, and then the rest of my community around me was my aunts and then my gay uncles, who were kind of like, you know, aunts to me because they were very feminine, almost hyper feminine, a little bit more feminine than the women in my family. And so it was like kind of hyper feminine based, and so I kind of identified on that feminine spectrum, which is why I'm just naturally very feminine. But I knew by the time I was in sixth grade that I was a lesbian because I didn't know what trans was. I was around a whole bunch of, left wing feminists who did not believe that transgender people belonged in the LGBT community. I'm not saying those were my parents' views, um, but they identify trans people in a different way than how I identify trans people, because I identify as a trans person, and it's very different than what they believe a transgender or transsexual is. And that's probably the generation gap, to be honest, and to not be completely biased against lesbians, because, we could be playing this game forever. And I think it's only equal and fair to be fair and to say that, it's definitely a generational issue that we have within our community. And it's hard, especially the fact that my parents believe the certain things about the trans community that I don't identify with. And so it was hard for me to tell them. I hid it for a long time, and then I got depressed because I couldn't be open about my transition and the fact that I wanted to transition and that I was seeing all these other people transition, and I wasn't able to do that and have that communication with my parents because they were so kind of shut down to the fact that, first of all, since I was in sixth grade and I was a lesbian, we don't need to talk about transgender people. We don't need to bring that up because you're not trans. So just, be quiet. It was kind of a hushed thing in my family. And then when I, turned, I don't know, however old you are in eighth grade, I got my own computer, and so I was able to look at things and like really discover what I was feeling and if this was actually for real. So I saw a movie called Gender Rebels in eighth grade, or maybe in seventh grade, and I got really into it, and I was so happy that I saw that movie, and I couldn't really know or understand why I was so happy that I saw that, but it just made me feel so good. And then later on in eighth grade, I realized that I identified more on the masculine spectrum because I hated wearing dresses. I hated wearing skirts. I admired guys a lot, but we never really got along. because I was the girl, or the girl that wanted to be a guy. Therefore, I was weird. Uh, but yeah, so 8th grade, I discovered that I was trans, and then my freshman year, I kind of started playing around with the term genderqueer, and I got really into that, and I cut my hair really short, and I was just kind of read as male, and that made me feel really good. I never corrected people, and that was about 5 years ago. So I started living as male or genderqueer, and if people called me she, it was fine. But then after I hit probably my junior to senior year, when people started interpreting me as female, I developed this like really bad pain in my stomach, and I think it was my body telling me that, whoa, did they just call you a girl? Because you don't really look like a girl anymore, and I don't think that's how you identify anymore, so that doesn't feel good. And so I started getting this pain. Every time someone called me female, it just hurt really bad, and it made me really embarrassed, and I started correcting people, and I started living as male, and it made me feel really, really good. Um, and I started taking testosterone about 3.5 months ago, um, and I'm still discovering parts of me that I never would have realized, 2 weeks ago. So like it's still an ongoing process, and this is just as far as I've gotten so far. But yeah. Uh, so I guess that's it for this week. I got the rest of the 4 weeks message, so I will be doing that, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.